Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cubtalk. I'm here with two very special guests representing LASH. I'm going to give them the chance to introduce themselves now.
Hey guys, my name is Magdalene Hernandez, and I am the Vice President of LASH, which stands for Latinx Association for Science and Health. And I'm a junior health science studies major on the pre-med track.
Hey guys, my name is Villanueva. I go by Dani, and I am on the event committee for LASH. I'm a junior neuroscience major on the pre-med track.
So the first question I have for y'all today what were some challenges you faced during your first year at Baylor, and how did you overcome them?
I'll go ahead and go first. I say the two biggest things were definitely finding community and then academics. You know, it's freshman year, like you're trying to figure everything out. But let me first touch on community. I think obviously this is like a predominantly white institution. It is hard leaving home, leaving what I'm used to and coming here and being like, okay, what do I do? But the biggest thing I did is really finding my passions. I already knew that I take pride in my culture. I take pride in who I am. So I wanted to find that community here, and I did. Through LASH, I found people that looked like me, that understood my background, that definitely understood where I was coming from whenever I talked about like the food that I miss from home. I mean, I know this fits the stereotype, but tacos, I love my tacos, and my friends will tell you that I love tacos. But I found people who understood that. And then in regards to academics, I struggled a lot my freshman year. I'm not gonna lie, like a ton. And I was able to find people that, like, I thought I was alone. I thought that I was the only person in the class who was failing that test, failing those quizzes constantly, but I wasn't. I found people that were also struggling in the same boat. So those are two big things that I struggled with.
I would say my biggest struggle freshman year was definitely academically. In high school, I never really had to like put much effort into my academics. Everything came pretty easy to me. And so coming to college and kind of being in a whole new environment, it was a huge adjustment. And I think it definitely like my self-worth took a hit, like my self-esteem, because I was like, oh, like how come I could do this in high school and I can't do it now? And so it was a really big adjustment to kind of, first of all, understand that college is a whole new ball game and like it's okay to not get it on my first try, but then to understand how I can like help that myself and how I can change my study habits and things like that was definitely a learning curve for me.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to both of y'all. I know coming in as a freshman from a high school that wasn't really the bar wasn't too high to me.
Yeah.
So it was like if you submitted a piece of paper, you pretty much passed.
No, yeah.
And so, especially coming to Baylor, being on the pre-medical track, it was definitely a slap in the face, especially with like, I think my first semester I took biology, psychology, and I had another science class, and it was like 3 science classes, and like coming in, you don't know like how you don't know how long it takes.
Yeah, because I took bio, chem, and calculus, and at first at the start of the semester I was like, nah, yeah, I'm fine. No, when those 3 tests in that 1 week, I was like, whoa, this is really bad.
Yeah, I was unaware, and then like I went like halfway through the semester, then I'm over here like asking people like, oh, what are you taking? And they're taking like 1 or 2 science classes, and I'm more like, oh, all my course does pretty much science. So it was definitely an eye opening, especially like getting my first C for the first time. I had never gotten a C in my life. I don't think I've ever gotten anything less than probably a 90.
Yeah.
And so again, passing that class with that 71, I've never been so happy in my life. I was like, yep, this is it.
No, you really take it for granted, because I also remember like it's C and it's left and right. It's not just one class. It was like every other class, every other quiz, every single day. And I was like, dang, like, can I really do this? But yeah, like you really don't know what to expect that first semester. And I feel like that first semester, it's not only like grades, but it's just adjusting to everything, finding your people, because you leave everyone that you know and you come here to a whole new place. So it's just hits left and right.
Yeah, that's I agree with y'all. I mean, it's hard to explain, especially for people who like haven't experienced Baylor, things like that. But like just being here, like whenever I talk to a first gen student or just a freshman in general, like I try to warn them about the first test, but they never believe me until they take the first test and like, yeah,
yeah,
like it's like a trial. Like it's like a trying to think of the word to explain it. Especially for pre-med, it's just like you don't know what they're talking about until you go through it. And after that first test, it's like, oh, do I really want to be pre-med anymore?
But like, I guess it's a good thing, because they have us, and I think like that's what I was saying, community, because you have people to look up to, and it's like they're constantly telling, yeah, you may not believe it at first, but then after that first test, second test, you're like, no, wait, yeah, they're right. And then you kind of look up to them for everything else. So it's kind of nice. But no, yeah, first semester was rough. It was really rough.
All right, my next question for you is, what has been the best part of your Baylor experience so far?
I think for me personally, I've loved the community that I found. I definitely didn't have it right away. It took me like my first semester, my first year, whatever, to like kind of find those people. But now like I've just taken a step back and I'm looking at like the friends that I have and the organizations that I'm in, and even like my relationship with my professor. Literally, like my professor comes and sits down with us in the BSB and just like chats with me and all of my friends. And it's just so cool having that experience, like being able to connect with my professor like that, or the friends that I have and being able to like go to them for anything is just so cool. And I really don't think I would have found that anywhere else outside of Baylor. So I think just like feeling at home with the people that I have around me has been really, really cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Community definitely being number one. Dani and I actually met through LASH. Like I remember one time, I just came from Mimo too, so I was like, aw, memories. But we met at Mimo, and one of our friends in LASH was like, oh, she's gonna join, and I was like, yeah, I'm excited to meet you and this and that. And obviously like she's on my committee and we're roommates. Like LASH definitely fosters a great sense of a community. Like everybody feels well, at least I hope they do, but everybody feels welcome, because we understand where you're coming from. So it's just the community here at Baylor. I feel like everybody's just so welcoming because they know like you are not alone here. We understand that, yeah, classes are hard, grades or yeah, you're suffering, but it's everything. Like they understand and they're more than happy to sit with you. Like that professor is actually the one that I failed with really hard. Like I remember that one test. Long story short, I ended up getting a 13, but it was graded wrong, so it wasn't really a 13. But anyways, I feel like he uses me as an example, like, guys, watch out, don't put your paper in the wrong stack, which is what happened. But now he like comes and sits down with us. Yeah, I was that student, but he's sitting down with me and talking, and he's probably thinking, oh, look at her now, like she's chilling. So it's such a, like, we have such a great community here, and I love that, because if we didn't have that, I wouldn't be happy, but I am. I'm more than happy. And then the second thing would definitely be the resources. Not only professors, but mentors as well. There's a lot of programs here at Baylor that offer that mentorship programs. And like we said, we talked about earlier, like you have people to look up to that can give you advice and everything. So like you have these people, it's not only giving you advice, but they're friends. Like they invite you here. They're like, oh, let me take you out to go eat somewhere in Waco. Like tacos. I've invited a lot of my freshman mentees to go eat Taco Z. And I haven't gone to this other one, but it's called Las Trancas, and I really want to take them there too. We want to go really bad this weekend. But yeah, it's like just having that community, having that support, and then other resources here at Baylor. So like I said, I struggled a lot my first semester. And I didn't have the time to go to SI. And I also didn't want to admit to myself that I needed help academically. I was like, nah, it'll be fine. No, it wasn't fine. And then second semester, I was like, okay, yeah, we got to go to SI, or we got to do something about it. So long story short, I ended up going to SI. The SI that I had, absolutely amazing. He understood what I was going through. He never judged me for it, like whatsoever. And even though I couldn't go to all of them, he was so understanding in the sense of, you work on it and I'll help you. I'll send you the key. I'll explain answers from what I can online, even though you can't be there 100% of the time, because we all don't have time. Like we were running out of time all the time. So anyways, he was very understanding, and that's just such a great support that I had back then. That's such a great resource that I think everybody should take advantage of. And of course, there's so much more out there, like tutoring, more scholarship programs. There's just so many out there, but the main one is for me was SI. And now looking back, like, it really helped me a lot, and that's why I became an SI. So I'm an SI this year for pre-cal, and I honestly love what I do, because I'm going back and I'm seeing these students struggle. Like, yeah, it sucks, but I also know where they're coming from, because I was in their shoes once, and now I'm helping them, take it step by step, getting better at math specifically every day. So it's also heartwarming to see them grow like that, because you were in that place at one time, and you know how it felt. Like, you knew that in that moment you're like, oh, I have no one else to go to, or I'm alone, but you're not. And I tell my students too, like, yeah, I struggled big time, so don't worry about it. Like, it's gonna be okay. Ask me anything, email me at any point in the day. And I'm a student too, remember that. So I may not get back to you ASAP, but I'm gonna try my best, because I understand where y'all are coming from.
Yeah, just like picking back off of what you said, I know like the time management is definitely a big thing that like a lot of freshmen struggle with. especially like having those hours in a day. Like there's only 24 hours in a day, and like come in, you're like, oh, I only have like 3 hours of classes. Like I have all that time to study, and then you don't end up studying, and it's like week before a test and like 3 days before a test, and you're like, oh, I should probably start studying. But I can definitely see how a lot of students struggle with time management. I know practically every student I've talked to has, and like they usually end up getting like a planner. A planner. Don't be like me, guys. I'm just kind of like using the Canvas calendar and just hoping everything goes okay.
Shout out Google Calendar. I love Google Calendar. At first I was so opposed. I was like, no, everything's gonna be physical, but I love Google Calendar. So if you don't have anything, I would definitely suggest Google Calendar.
Let's see. Okay, so the next question I have is, what advice would you give to students right now who are facing similar issues?
I would say use your resources and don't be afraid to ask for help. I feel like, I know Magdalene was talking about it earlier, but it's like so easy to look at your situation and be like no one else is in the same boat, or to feel almost embarrassed of like needing help, because I know I was like, I've never needed it, why would I need it now? And so I would definitely just say like there's nothing wrong with needing resources. There's nothing wrong with needing to go to office hours every single day. Like I know for one of my classes I was literally at office hours like every week, and it helped me so much, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so I would just say, just don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like you need to hold yourself up to a higher standard. Like it's okay to ask for help. And I would also say, just know that like you're not the only one going through it. I feel like I struggled with that a lot. I was like, oh, no one else is in the same boat, because I'd have people getting like A's and B's, whatever, around me. And so I just would say, don't feel like you need to compare yourself to others, because you're not in the same boat as them. Like there's difference in the situations or whatever it may be. So I would just say, use your resources and don't be comparing yourself to others, because it's okay.
Yeah. I want to say kind of the exact same thing. We all go through imposter syndrome at one point or another, and it's just so easy to feel like that, and it's so easy to be like, I am alone, but you're not. And I think the biggest advice that I would give freshmen or anybody transferring, like it's their first year here, is just talk. Like just talk to people. I know at first when I came in here, I was really shy, and luckily I found LASH, and now look at me, like I'm literally rambling all the time. Like if you ask Dani, I yap a ton. So just talk to someone. Find someone that you think you can trust, and most of the time it's going to be through an organization or a mentorship program, or if not, like go find a department, multicultural affairs. Like there's so many people here that genuinely want to help you and want to see you grow, want to see you get better, want to see you feel happy. So just find someone and talk to them, because more than like you'd be surprised on how much we know, how many resources there are here at Baylor that you may not know of. So just find someone to yap to. That's really like my biggest advice, because with that you can get so many opportunities, not only the resources, but like a genuine friendship and a genuine relationship that you can foster throughout the 4 years that you're here.
Yeah, I can definitely say, like I met my friend JT. He was my roommate. I think we met just randomly one day at Baylor, and like I can honestly say he's like been a roommate now for 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the freshman year like friendships that I've cultivated all the way through Baylor. We're in the same fraternity now. We work in the same office. It's definitely like having someone there for you. It makes like it's so much easier, whether it be with classes, whether it be with like personal issues. Even if you just need someone to like go out and eat with, it's like it makes Baylor so much more enjoyable when you have that community. But I also want to like touch on the comparison thing, because I know comparison's like really easy to do, and like me personally, I'm a really competitive person, so it's like it's easy to be like, oh, who got the high, and then you see the high on the test and it's like 98. Yeah,
they're the one that ruined the curve.
Yeah, they're like oh, I'm not gonna get a curve now. But like especially when you're sitting like at like that C, or if you failed the test and you're looking like, oh, maybe everybody else did bad, and then you see the high. I want to emphasize to all the students listening, like don't compare to the high, like especially when it comes to these pre-med classes. Like it's just unrealistic for everyone to get an A. And I definitely think that's something I struggled with, was like, okay, well I studied as hard as I could and I got this grade. Why am I getting this grade? Because so and so over there, they're getting it. I think it's definitely something that I had to come to terms with. Like you are enough, you are smart enough to be here. It's just the way the cards are dealt sometimes. Sometimes, you know, like that person, this might be their second or third time retaking the class. And that's something that like I know I was ashamed of when I retook one of my first class was OChem. And it was kind of like I didn't want to be seen in the class, but at the same time, like there's half the students in the class are retaking it, and it's something, I don't know, I guess it's imposter syndrome. You're just kind of like, oh, I shouldn't be here, like I'm struggling with this, and like this person's getting this right. And it's just something I think as like a person of color and a first generation college student you struggle with, especially being here and seeing like all of like your peers and colleagues doing so well when you feel so far behind. And I think that's something I definitely still struggle with. Like from time to time, I still feel like I'm not doing enough. And then I look at like my schedule and I'm like, I don't have time to do anymore.
Yeah.
But I just want to put that out there for all the students listening right now.
And like going back to the first gen thing, it's also wanting to make your parents proud, because you think like you are leaving home and you're coming here and you want to do everything, you want to get those A's, and it's like it's unrealistic to get a perfect 100 in every class. So it's just coming to terms with it. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's also like your parents are proud of you no matter what. Yeah, you may fail that quiz, yeah, you may fail the class, but it's okay. Like maybe they have been through it, but they also, like for first generation students specifically, they haven't, and they don't understand the pressure that you're going through, which is okay. Like it's not their fault, it's not our fault, but you should also remember like they are proud of you no matter what. Like you are in college, you're doing great things. Yeah, you may not have enough time in the day, but you are doing really good things.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I should like. I would go home and people would ask me how's school going. I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's going good.
It's going.
Yeah, knowing I'm like failing some of my classes, I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely something like I felt ashamed to tell my parents, you know. I couldn't tell them like, hey, like I think I need help in this class, especially since like in high school I had been a straight A student. I was in all these AP classes. So it's like finding that balance between like being honest with yourself and being honest with your parents versus like having to lie. Because I know my first semester here, I like lied to everybody home. I was like, oh yeah, it's going fine. Especially since like they couldn't see your grades. So it was like, I would just go home and be like, yeah, I'm doing fine. And like in reality, I was drowning. So it was like, I didn't want to tell anybody here that I was failing my classes either. Cause like, you know, some of your like friends or whatever could be doing really well in the class. And like, I was kind of ashamed, like, no, I'm not going to tell them that. So then I found myself in like the situation where it was like, I was lying at home, lying like at Baylor. And I just found myself, I was like, I don't even know who. It was kind of like an identity crisis. Like I didn't even know who I was anymore at that point. I'm just like, I'm the only person that knew was going on. And eventually I opened up and like I told my friends. I stuck up for my parents for a little bit longer just because I was like, I don't know, it was like embarrassing. I felt embarrassed and I was like, oh, they're gonna be like so mad, so disappointed. But I remember I eventually had the conversation when I failed my first class, and they were just like, they honestly just told me like what I need to hear. They were like, you know, if this isn't for you, like only God knows if it's for you. If it's, you know, if you were meant to fail this class, you were meant to fail this class. Like, just do your part. And that's what really stuck with me, is just like, do your part. You know, whatever way it works out, there's a plan for you. Like God has a plan. Maybe this wasn't like the career for you or like the class for you. And I definitely felt that after like I retook OChem. I was like, okay, well, like, you know, I passed the class now, and it was definitely something I had to think about. But I taught myself I could overcome adversity, and that was something I never had like previous experience with.
No, it's a big learning curve, but the good thing is that you do have people here to help you, and that's what I'm saying, talk, because you never know whether someone has gone through it or not. Like, yeah, it's harder, I guess, to talk to the people like your roommates, your friends right now, but if you join those organizations, those programs that you may or may not think, oh, like it might be good, it might be a waste of time, whatever, but I remember the first person that I talked to, like I was so ashamed, same thing, like I was so embarrassed that I was failing a class, and for me it was chemistry 1, you know, like quote unquote easy, but it wasn't, like I was suffering. But I remember, I don't know, I just kind of let it out one day, and she was, oh, don't worry, like I failed too. And I was like, whoa, but like I idolize you. You're a senior, like you're taking the MCAT and this and that. And she was, no, yeah, don't worry, like it's okay. You're gonna come back from it. You're gonna get an A and this and that. I mean, of course, it's not always possible to get an A, but you can always dream, and it might be. So, but she was that one person, the one person that really started, or at least helped me change that mindset of it's okay. Like it's going from no, it's not okay to it's okay to fail. It's okay to struggle, because all of these are obstacles. Like you are getting hit left and right in life all the time, and God has a plan for you. Like no matter in the moment, yeah, you may be suffering, but that's okay because there's a plan. So yeah.
Anything else to add on that?
I would just say I feel like I had a really similar experience, and the first person that I opened up to was one of my professors, and it was someone that, like, he's a STEM professor. Like I just looked up to him so much, and I remember I went to his office one day and I sat down with him and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like pass this class, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And he just like sat me down and he was like, you're fine, like it's just one class. And I know hearing that from a professor, from someone who is like, people go to him to like write rec letters and all this stuff, and to hear it from him and knowing he's seen so many students like through medical school was so impactful for me, because I was like, okay, like I'll be okay. And so I would just say what y'all have been saying, like opening up is so important and it can help you so much.
Yeah.
So my next question I have for y'all is: are you in any programs that you feel helped you grow professionally and individually here at Baylor?
A lot. You want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, let's go. So first, LASH, obviously. That was the first organization here at Baylor. I remember late night. If y'all should go to late night. If you haven't gone your freshman year, go sophomore year. Go whenever, honestly, because there's so many programs here at Baylor that you are not aware of. But I remember walking around the BSB, and then I hear someone playing an accordion, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Hispanic music. So I ran over there. They had Hispanic candy, so I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is my vibe. And long story short, I'm obviously EVP. I loved it. So that's an organization that not only fostered community, but it helped me grow professionally. And like I said earlier, I was such a quiet person. Like if you would ask the president now how I was back my freshman, I would not talk. I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. And literally blank. But now look at me, like I'm rambling because I'm so like you will find your passion with these organizations that you join, with whatever you join. You will find your passion, and yeah, it may not come like overnight, but it's gonna develop over time, and you're gonna see it. It's so, whenever you hear people talk about their passion, it's just so heartwarming because you can see it in their eye, like you can hear it. So yeah, that's the first organization. I'd say my second one would be PhilSA, which is the First in Line Success Academy. For that one, I am a mentor. I was also a scholar my freshman year. But that one is also a big mentorship program. It is your first time here at Baylor, first time for everything, first time being a college student. And I'm also the oldest. I have 2 younger brothers. So like for me, I wanted to be a good role model for my brothers, but also over time I realized that, you know, it sucks. I don't want to put my brothers in a position where it's like, oh, my older sister's struggling. Like, is that going to be me too? But also, if you want to see it in a different light, it's good for them to see you struggling too, because they're like, okay, because if I struggle, then it's okay because I know that she's been through it. Because not everybody's perfect. Nobody's going to be like the golden one, because everybody's always struggling, and that's okay. It's not something so easy to talk about, but it's something that does need to be heard. Especially as first generation students, like you're hearing it from us. We struggled a ton, but now look at us, like we're doing good. And yeah, we're still struggling right now. Like right now I'm struggling with physics. That class is crazy, but I know that it's going to be okay. Like I know in the future God has a plan, and hopefully I do become a doctor. But yeah, PhilSA, just a really good mentorship program. Someone is like the first person you meet here, one of the first few people that you create a genuine relationship with, and that person that you can look up to for anything, whether it's like, hey, where'd I go get milk from? Where's the cheapest place to go get it from? Or where are you gonna get good tacos? Or literally anything. Or if y'all haven't heard about Barris is like really good pasta restaurant. But it's just a lot of good advice from these people. And you know, a lot of people do come from Baylor. They may not be first generation students and they're looking for mentorships. There's a ton of other mentorship programs, but another one that 2 other mentorship ones that I'm involved in are Hallie Earl Scholars. That's a new program specifically for pre-health first generation students here at Baylor. But that one is kind of like PhilSA, but in the more geared towards pre-health students, because yes, for first generation overall, it's their first time for everything, but even more so for pre-health. Like I know Matthew was saying that he took 3 STEM classes. So did I, but nobody told me that was gonna be like the worst decision in my life, because I remember my roommate was only taking 1 at the time, and I was like, bro, why? Like my advisor told me 3. She goes, dude, did you not know like these classes are hard? I'm like, well, yeah, I knew they were hard, but nobody told me not to take 3. So like, it's okay, but these classes are supposed to, or these programs are supposed to be telling you like, hey, it's okay if you want to do this and that. Like this is going to be an easier route, and that's okay if you want to do 3. By all means, that is okay. Obviously, Matthew and I are still here, but it's just like another route. It's these advice. Yeah, that's how you say it. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're gonna help you in the long run, because these people have been through it, and yeah, it's harder to believe at first. You're like, no, I'm gonna be okay, but hopefully you don't experience it, but it's okay to experience it too, because we've been through it, so that's okay. And then the other mentorship program is Adelante. It's a national program that's referred to Avanzando Through College program that is geared towards Hispanic minorities, low income, etc. But this one is kind of to help you, like again, first generation students, but it's also kind of tying it back to your culture and imposter syndrome. I think that was the first place where I really came to terms that I wasn't alone, because I remember the second time we met, they talked about, how are you feeling? Like, really, how are you feeling? Because everybody on the first bat, they're like, I'm okay. And then they're like, no, how are you feeling? How are you doing? You're like, okay, I'm not okay. Now that's the first time they acknowledge that like what you're feeling is imposter syndrome. And that's the first time I learned about that word and how it really affects each and every one of us. Because in that moment, like I said, you may feel alone, but then you turn around and look at the next person to you, and they're like, yo, no, I'm struggling too, big time, just like you. And that program helped me a lot in order to come to terms with, yeah, I'm not the only one. Yeah, in the moment it may feel like it, but it helped me see that everybody's going through a different situation. It is just as hard. It's affecting them just as much as it's affecting you. So that helped me come to terms with that. It's okay. That's everything that comes to mind right now, but we'll see. Anyways.
I'm just involved in 2 like major organizations. I feel like I personally like admire people like Magdalene who can do like so many mentorship programs and all of that, but I feel like 2 is my perfect number. First, I'm in LASH, obviously, and I love LASH so much.
Go LASH.
Yeah, I have an interesting story of how I came to LASH. I joined my freshman year, like first semester, because all pre-meds have to take this class called PHP, and so one of my requirements was like you have to join an organization or go to a meeting or something like that. And so I went to a LASH meeting, but my roommate at the time was Hispanic, like she was from Honduras, so I didn't really feel like I was missing that like community aspect. I felt like I had that because we were super close, and honestly like I just felt like I didn't have the time to put into an organization. So I didn't actually start going until my sophomore year when my roommate transferred, and I was like, I miss home so much. And I was like, hold on, LASH exists. So I went to LASH and I met Magdalene, and like all of my close friends are in LASH, and it has been such a wonderful journey. Like I kind of wish I would have stayed my freshman year, because I'm like, man, if I would have had that all 4 years, that would have been so cool. But I love LASH so much because they give you so many opportunities to grow, like, and you look at the officers, and I know in a lot of other organizations, the officers seem like they're so far away from you. But here, like last year, the president now was my mentor. And to have her like guide me through all of these things and tell me what she was doing her junior year now makes me feel like so much more prepared. And even just have the opportunity to be like on a committee, and everything has just been so cool in terms of like how much they allow you to grow, and just what a great community LASH is to surround yourself with. Yeah, that's LASH. And then I'm in another program called Clinical Skills. It's a course offered by one of the dorms here at Baylor. And what we do is we meet every week. It's like a class for credit, and we teach the students different clinical skills. So we do like phlebotomy or suturing and things like that. And I remember taking it my freshman year, and like I was so overwhelmed with the bio classes and my neuroscience classes. And then every single Friday I'd go to this class and we would do something fun. And I was like, wait, I actually do want to be a doctor. And it just was kind of that sweet reminder of like, this is what I'm in it for. And I'm not, yeah, the bio classes are so hard, but like that's not what I'm going to do in the long run. And I remember that being like something that really got me through my freshman year. So then it's like a completely student-led course. So then I had the opportunity to become an LA, and that was like a little step up in the position of leadership. And that was such a cool experience too, to be a mentor to the students. And now I'm one of the head TAs, so like fully running the course, which is so, so cool. And I think just being on the other side of it and like seeing how the students are growing their love for medicine, and like every week they come to class and they're like, oh my gosh, I was looking forward to it all week, is so, so cool, because I know I was in their position. So I would just say like finding organizations that do what you love and that also provide that community is so important, because it's hard to like find a community if you're not plugged in somewhere, I would say.
Just to piggyback on both the what y'all said, how would like you suggest like students reach out to these orgs or like programs, so just so they have like a guideline when they're like listening to this, it's just so they know how to like reach out to them?
So honestly, I would say just find the email, find the Instagram, whatever it is, and just say, hey, I'm blah, 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 I'm interested. And most of the time, well, at least for LASH, in my case, like I'm the one that's in charge of answering to those people. We are so welcoming, and I think every organization here is welcoming. Every program is so welcoming, and they will give you the detailed version of why you should join, because we want you to find your community. And that's what I was saying, like find something that you're passionate about and join it, because you never know what's going to come out of it. Like a family, like Dani said with LASH, we really are a family, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like you want to find a community that's not only going to help foster that like sense of community here at Baylor, but you want, like, just think about your mom. Your mom wants to see you grow. Your mom wants to see you be happy. Your mom wants to see you do all these great things. Same thing with everything here at Baylor. LASH, we want to see you grow. We want to see you be happy. We want to see you grow, not only as a student but as a person, and all of these programs too. So just reach out, find that email, find that Instagram, and just reach out and introduce yourself and say, I'm interested. Because with those words alone, you are going to get so much information, applications, and this and that, how to even join it in the first place, which is like following the Instagram. In Lash's case, it's like joining the group me and joining on Connect, and then from there you're set. Then come to a meeting, and you will bet, like I bet you that if I don't come to you, then somebody will, right?
Yes.
Like I will come and talk to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, just reach out to anyone and say I'm interested, and from there good things are gonna come.
Yeah, I would say especially also during the first week of each semester, like go to as many interest meetings as you want. Like that's what that week is for. It's also a little bit, I know STEM classes are an exception sometimes, but it's not as heavy as maybe it'll get later on. And like there's no shame in going to an interest meeting and being like, hey, you know what, that's not for me. Like no one's gonna take that personally, because at the end of the day, like everyone that's in a position of leadership just wants you where you feel at home. And so I would just say, like, truly explore all your options, and then once you get somewhere, like I really would recommend committing to it and being like, I'm gonna stick this out, even if it's for one semester. Like just go the first couple weeks and then decide, okay, I'm gonna stay here and I'm really gonna give this a chance. And I feel like that was my approach and it worked for me.
And I want to say also, like, if you're a sophomore, junior, senior, just join. I mean, you may think, no, it's too late. No, it's not. Just go and have fun. Go see what you can get out of it. Opportunities, networking, relationships, a family. Just go. Like Dani said, she joined her sophomore year, and look at her now. Like, we created a really great friendship, and I mean, I hope she thinks that too. Obviously, we're roommates, but yeah, just join, whether it's your second, third year. Because you never know what you're gonna get out of it. You really never know. Like, uno nunca sabe. That's literally the word. So just join. And you can get so much out of it, and you can also learn what you like and don't like. But yeah.
Thank you for that. My next question is a little bit deeper. What advice would you give to a younger version of yourself? This could be your freshman year self, like your high school self, any version of yourself you think you should give. You think you can look back now and give advice to.
You want to go first?
Yeah. I think there's a couple things I'd say to the younger version of myself. One of those is just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I definitely, like, if you look at me freshman year and look at how I am now, it's like two totally different people. I used to be very, very like reserved, and I would kind of find like that one person and just stick to them. And like it had always worked for me. I always had really great friendships, but then coming to college, like it was definitely a change, and I still had amazing friendships, and like I found my really close friends here. But I would say there's probably a lot of opportunities I missed out on maybe freshman year when I wasn't as like outgoing or just willing to put myself out there. And honestly, I think it came out of like a fear of like being embarrassed or being rejected from whatever it may be. And I would say going into like this year and last year, I definitely started being like, you know what, like there's nothing to lose. I'm gonna go for that opportunity and I'm gonna ask, and if they say no, they say no. Like I'm not gonna lose anything. So it actually, I remember one time I went up to one of my professors who had been like talking about his research and stuff, and I literally just went to his office and I was like, hey, I want to do research. And now I'm like doing full-time research with him. I'm getting paid for it. Like it's completely my research project, and like none of that would have happened if I hadn't just gone and asked. And so I think that was a really big thing for me that I learned, and that was a big like turning point for me of just being like, you know what, it's okay to put yourself out there, and it's okay. People are going to tell you no, and unfortunately, like that's life. But I feel like now I'm like, I'd rather get used to that right now and get used to putting myself out there right now than like going into the professional world and just missing out on who knows what just because I didn't want to hear the word no.
Yeah. Kind of bouncing off of that, I would say go and try to expand your horizon, because I guess Dani and I were kind of the same in the sense of we were very quiet. We were very reserved people, and now we're completely different, and in a good way.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten so many opportunities from it. So I would definitely say if your roommate doesn't want to go to an event, just go. You don't always have to have a buddy system, and that's okay. At first, you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel like, yeah, no. But just go, because I remember my freshman year, first semester, I don't remember what events exactly, but I remember those conversations in the room. And I would say, hey, do you want to go to this general meeting or this interest meeting? I just want to see. And she would be like, no, I don't want to go. So I was like, okay, because you're not going, I'm not going. And honestly, I really wish I didn't do that, because there's so many things that you are unaware about right now, and so many good things that you can find out by going to those events, by going to those interest sessions, because you never know what's going to be out there. You never know what opportunities you can get. So just try it. Kind of like leading on to what Dani says, you literally never know what's coming, and for the better.
Yeah.
It's not a scary thing. I know at first, like, yeah, it's scary doing it alone, but you're also not alone, because so many people feel that same way. Or there's other people, like, let's say you go to that event and then you come out with like free t-shirts, free coupons, and this and that. They're gonna be like, dang, I should have gone. But you could be that trendsetter, if you want to put it that way. Like, go be that person that you want to be, even if you're the only one doing it, because you never know how it's going to change your life. And like she said, it could be a no. Like, let's say you apply for a scholarship and you don't get that scholarship. That's okay. For example, I applied for the first abroad study scholarship. I forgot the name, but it's something like that. And I didn't get the scholarship, and that's okay. But I got other opportunities from that. I got like a book scholarship. I was able to contact people about a medical mission trip. And like right now, we literally had this conversation earlier today. I was thinking about taking a mission trip, and I simply just brought it up. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I just did. It just came to mind. And she goes, oh, well, my professor's doing this medical mission trip over the summer. I think you should look into it. I would have never known about it unless I just mentioned it. So you literally never know what's going to happen if you don't try it, because it could be a yes, it could be a no, it could be a maybe, but you could get other things out of it too. Because yeah, getting rejected is hard. Trust me, like it is hard, but there's so many things that you turn away from that, and you look at so many other opportunities. And even with the rejection, for example, there's this program called McNair Scholars, McNair Scholars, and that's like a research-based program here at Baylor. They help you with like PhD fees and everything else that you may aspire to be. And I got rejected, and that's okay. I went to the director, we talked about it, and he goes, this could be like, this is what you can do better. Like, you can learn so many things. And again, everything is a learning curve. Like, yeah, you may fail. Same thing with classes. Yeah, you may fail, but you learn so much out of it. It's like, okay, I failed at this test. Let me see what I can do better. And even if you don't do great on the next test, you're like, okay, bam, those two things didn't work. You learn from it. You learn what you can do better in the future, and you can get so many opportunities from it. So yeah, long story short, I would go back to myself and say, just try to expand your horizon step by step. It doesn't have to happen overnight, because that's scary. Changing your whole personality in one day, that's a scary thing to do. But it's just step by step. It's, baby steps.
Okay. Thank y'all for sharing. Oh, and then on a lighter note, what superpower would you have and why?
I was thinking about this earlier today. I had to like look up superpowers because I was like, pause. But I came to the conclusion that I would want to time travel, because I just feel like going back in time, I don't know, like there's something about the 90s that's so appealing to me, and I wish I could have lived during that time. So I really wish I could go back and time travel. Also, I like the drawings, pictures, whatever, of like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Like, I just want to see how accurate they are, to be completely honest. So I just feel like time traveling that would be my superpower.
I'm gonna be very honest. I was thinking about the Avengers, so I was like, okay, let me see which one I want to be. And at first I was like Black Widow, because she has all these cool moves, but then I really thought about it, and I thought of Doctor Strange, and I was like, that's a cool one. I want to be able to stop time and do all these really cool things. But stopping time, we've talked about it, nobody has time like for anything. You run out of time for everything. Like, what, I have another meeting at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, dang, I want to do this homework, and that's okay. But if I could stop time, I would definitely stop time to do my homework. And then stop time, let's say like on a Saturday, there's a football game that I really want to go to. I just stop time, do my homework, and be like, okay, let's continue with our lives and have some fun. So yeah, stopping time for sure.
I mean, I think those are both good answers.
He's like, no.
What's yours?
Mine's personally teleportation, because like,
okay, that was my second one though.
Cause I was like, bro, I can be anywhere on the earth. Like, I could snap my fingers and be in Spain, and no one could tell me anything.
Yeah.
The gas money you would save?
The gas money?
Crazy.
You could pretty much get away with virtually anything.
Go home and get some tacos, come back.
Exactly. Or like, and especially like walking on like Baylor's campus, it's hot, bro. I can just teleport to the BSB and I'd be done.
Yes.
That's a 20-minute walk. That's 20 minutes you can save.
It is. I mean, you lose out on some steps, but like,
but it's fine.
It's better than sweating like before you get to your class.
Gym.
Exactly.
From the bed to the gym. You remember those days like you get up and you're like, nah, I don't want to do it. Teleport and bam, you're there.
Exactly. That's why I always thought
he's like, nah, y'all are bad.
No, I mean, I thought when y'all was gonna come with like super strength, I was like, okay, that one's kind of like the one that everyone always says, or like super speed.
No. I was also thinking invisibility, but like if I had to rank them, it'd be stopping time, teleportation, and then invisibility. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like some of them have too much responsibility associated with them that I'm like
invisibility. Imagine all the cheese
Yeah.
you could get.
Some things I'd rather not know.
True.
I'll just keep it to myself.
But yeah.
Okay, well, thank y'all. That concludes our episode. Thank you, Magdalene. Thank you, Dani, for taking your time out of your day to film this podcast with us.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so
It was so much
much.
fun.